Hey, sisters. We're back with part 4 of our marriage. uh, get up here with our power of our words. And again, Leslie and I pretty much had another video in between. And I want to say something really quick, and then I'm going to let Leslie add in some whatever thoughts she's got on this subject. I want to say there's a point in time where I said earlier I did pride myself in being an independent woman who spoke her mind, and I've never been an aggressive, mean-spirited woman, but I do use words, a lot. I speak a lot. I expect people to hear me. When Chris and I would get into a conversation or a disagreement about something, like I think that my words are enough to fix it. Mm-hmm. Just understand me. If I say this one thing, he'll get it. It'll make sense to him. And what we forget is that our husbands are processing things differently than what we do. And our words might come out a certain way, but in reality, what it's saying is, you think I'm stupid. You think I don't get that. You think that I don't know these things already, so you got to keep telling me this over and over again. It doesn't encourage them to change. It doesn't encourage them to be better men. What encourages our husbands is a lot of grace.
Being better wives.
Being better wives. Be the spouse that you expect your spouse to be to you. So if you want him to be more loving and more generous and kind and gentle.
Be more loving, generous, kind, and gentle.
Right.
Point blank, period.
It's really that simple.
It is. And when you
and
do
ladies,
it,
I'm serious. Like, it is that simple. They will react because God wired them to react. Mm-hmm. It's not because your husband is, there's nothing specific about this man or that man, and it all looks different because you know your marriage and your relationship and what works with you. Do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And I've discovered that it's very important to study your man. Like, study him. Watch him. Watch what makes his eyes light up. Be interested. Be interested in what he's doing, what he likes. If it's hunting and you hate hunting, who cares? Entertain him for a little bit. I'm sure he's listened to plenty of conversations about something that you and your girlfriends talked about that he really could have cared less about. And he probably blanked out a little bit on you, but the point being that just take an interest in your husband.
Engaging goes a long way.
Make him feel as important as your girlfriends are, because the truth of the matter is he's way more important, and I think that's where we get into the order of your life: God, your husband, your children, and then everything else. And why does your husband come above your children? This is an argument that I've heard many times, and actually my sister and I kind of had this tense conversation one time about why your husband should be put above your children. And that's because in serving your husband in that way, the way that God ordered things, you're actually then serving your children in a healthy way as well. Mm-hmm. It all falls into place. And I know this sounds crazy, ladies, but if God instructed it to be this way, it's because he knew it was the way that things worked best. So when you start to put your children, and this is a touchy subject for my home because we're a blended family. So we came into this marriage with our own children and our own lives outside of that had already, our relationships with our children had already developed, and we had to mesh it all together. And I came into this with my children come first. My children are number one in my life, because I've put them on the back burner for a bad marriage before, and that's just how things are going to go. And be completely honest with you, Chris respected my being a mother, and he never really stepped on my toes when it came to that. But I did see an impact. Mm-hmm. I saw a huge impact of the way that my children come first hit him. And our preacher said it really funny one time. He said, when we put our children first and we spend all of our energy putting them above our spouse, and then one day our children are gone. They've moved on. They're taking care of their own family and their own children, and the order of operation has been disrupted. then what do you have?
Well, and that's like I talked about in the Living on Purpose video. You know, I've talked about women who pour themselves into their children, and then when their children are grown, they have nothing.
Right. Right. And what happens is your relationship with your husband has this big gap in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was actually put down a notch on the ladder for so long, for 18 years, or, you know, however long he's put there. And then somewhere along the line, he's trying to climb back up that rung, and you've forgotten all about that by now. You know what I'm saying? You've forgotten about the nurturing that your husband needed all along. And your kids benefit. Your kids benefit greatly by seeing that you and your husband you're together. Look, we're here. And like our blended family. And I'd like to do a vlog one day about blended families, because I'm very passionate about this subject, and I feel like I've got a lot to say about it. But when it comes to when Chris and I finally got on the page of we're here. So we got 4 kids looking at us, and they're thinking, who can we play against who? You know, we got mom and stepdad, mom and stepdad, you know, or dad and stepmom. And I mean, we've got a huge dynamic in our family, and they can very quickly, you know, turn the tables on parents. And, well, she said this, and mom said that, and dad said that. And it finally got to a point where Chris and I said, okay, we're together here. So if you've got something to say, you're going to say it to both of us, because we're on the same page. You can't play us against each other. We're a couple that loves each other, and we're together. And God wants me to put him first and respect his opinion, and then we'll talk about what you've got.
It's interesting because growing up, my mom, I actually thought it was horrible that my mom always said, I don't care what anybody says.
Your daddy comes first.
Your daddy comes first, then it's y'all, and then it's everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand, because she didn't really do a very good job of explaining to me, you know, why, or maybe, I mean, and I know she was brought up that way, you know, I'm almost positive, because she grew up, you know, with a very church background, you know, godly background. But thinking about it now, and thinking about what she did for him, you know, it's just.
Well, it put him in a place where he felt her love and felt her respect. And a mother is not doing it in an injustice by saying, my husband is first. He's my life partner. He's my, you know, we're going to grow old together. We're going
And it makes so much sense now. I mean, before I was a kid and I was like, Mom, yeah.
Are you serious?
But now,
like, I'm your kid.
I'm gone. I've got my own family and kids,
her.
And they got stuck with each other. I mean, you know,
and
not stuck. I shouldn't have said it that way.
We hope to be able to grow old with our husbands and to go through the things in life once our kids have grown and
still like each other.
But if you spend that whole 18 years suppressing your husband below your children, what are you building up in him? What does he have to look forward to, really? And is he loving your children to the extent that he could? Or is he building a little bit of a resentment towards the relationship that you have with your kids? You can have a very healthy, loving relationship with your children and still put your husband first, second to only Christ. And ladies, again, I want to deeply encourage you to know that God put this in play because it's perfect. It works, and once you apply it, you see the fruit.
You're gonna be like, oh,
that's
what they were talking about.
Look at him, how he's doing stuff, and I didn't even ask him to.
Right? What? Right. He's giving the dog a bath.
Right.
No, like
my dog showers with my husband, like in the shower. It's crazy.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. She climbs in there and just takes a shower like it's nothing.
That's awesome.
It's ridiculous.
That doesn't happen.
Sorry, little rabbit trail there. But ladies, just trust God. Trust what God has put together. And if He created us, and He created us to function a certain way and to bring the best out of each other in a certain way, why not trust that God actually knew what He was doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I had to come to reality with. Wait a second. I'm questioning God. I'm questioning his ability to have it right. And why are we questioning our maker, our creator, and the whole reason for marriage? He created marriage, you know, for many reasons. And I think we should do a vlog on that too. Oh, that's a good one. Why did God create marriage? But, you know, I just think that because the two of us have seen this, we've seen the fruit of respecting our husbands, and we both have work to do.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm not for an instant of a second going to sit here.
Spit it out.
Right. Gonna sit here and say, oh, my husband
pull the
is...
choke, it'll start.
Anyway, I'm just not going to sit here and claim that my marriage is perfect.
And that we got it all figured out.
Right, because we don't. I learn something new every day.
Mm-mm.
Grace is new every day.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Ladies, earn your husband's love by respecting him more than he ever expected to be respected by you. Really, I mean, think about this. It makes perfect sense when you start to apply it. It may not make sense in the words, but I promise you that once you do it and you see his reaction to you, you will be like, why did I not know this before? You know, where has this information been all my life? And I highly recommend reading the book Love and Respect. And I even recommend looking into a website called Love and Respect Now by Joy Eggerichs, which is the author's daughter, who is focusing completely on passing the love and respect message into generation 18 to 35-year-olds. Because, of course, the application is a little bit different. You know, our parents' generation was different than what our world is today, and it's harder. It looks different. Respect looks different now than what it did back then. Women were much more quiet and gentle and humble and, you know, working in the home, and that was pretty much it. But now that our women's rights have really come far, we've not only increased our strength in our abilities and our intelligence, but we have decreased our level of respect for men. Men are being suppressed. Men are being pushed down because women can do anything men can do. That's a scary place to be because men need to be lifted. The men in our country need to be lifted big time. I mean, look at Washington, D.C. We need some strong, godly men. And we need to start by applying that in our homes and teaching our children to respect our husbands. Now, that's something that we need to think about. Your children need to respect your husband. You know, that's one thing I've put into play. When my kids start to disrespect Chris or even their fathers in any way, I make it very clear you do not speak to him in that way. And in return, Chris has also started, you know, defending me and saying, you're not going to speak to your mother that way. You know, there's a respect there between the two of us now that the kids see, okay.
They mean business.
They respect each other.
Yeah.
They respect each other. So I really want to highly encourage you to read that book because a lot of what we've said is covered in that book and in a deeper, may make more sense to you than what we say. Just because he studied it his whole life and we've just been doing it, you know, just been thinking this stuff in the last couple of years. So I just really highly recommend you to try some of the things. And I think one day we should do a vlog, maybe in the very near future. We'll do a vlog on specific examples of what we can do to respect our husbands.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll put thoughts together on that so we can pass it down to you. But I think that's a good thing for you all to see and to hear so that you kind of know what it looks like. But until then, ladies, humble yourselves, be kind, be gentle, and remember that your power lies in the ability to control your reactions. Right?
Right.
Bye, ladies.